Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Let us move on to the discussion of the back exercises now. What are Nora and Kathleen discussing when the play opens? So what were they discussing? They were discussing about the bundle of clothes that were given by the young priest to Nora. According to him, the clothes might belong to Michael and they were told to identify it. Why does the priest refuse to stop Bartley from going to the Galway fair? So why did the priest not tell Bartley not to go to the Galway fair? Because according to the priest, God would not be this unfair to Moria to leave her with no living son. So he thought that God is not going to take away this son of hers, and that is why he did not stop him at all. What do Nora and Kathleen wish to hide from their mother? So what were they hiding? They were hiding the bundle that the priest had given to her. How is Nora able to identify her brother's stockings? So how did they identify? Because of the stitches. The stocking that they had found was the second of the third pair that Nora had stitched for her brother. And according to her, it should have had 3 stitches on it, and when Kathleen counted, that actually was the case. Why does Moria try to dissuade Bartley from taking the rope? Dissuade is the opposite of persuade. So why did Moria not want Bartley to take away the rope? Because according to her, Michael's body might be washed across the shore in his absence, and she would need that rope to dig a grave, a very deep grave for Michael's coffin. Why do the girls send Moria after Bartley? So why did they send Moria? Because Moria did not bless her son before he was leaving for the Galway fair, and they thought it to be a very ill omen, and they wanted this to be resolved, and that is why they told their mother to go. How does Moria know that they would soon have a bad news? So how did Moria know that they were expecting something bad to happen with them? When Moria went to the spring well, she saw Bartley going on his red mare, and following the red mare was a grey pony on which she saw Michael sitting. And this is how she, linked, and she thought that Bartley was now not going to return back. What are the 2 main themes of the play, Riders to the Sea? So what are the 2 main themes? First, these women, as it is written in the hint also, these women, the family, they belonged to the sea, they lived by the sea, and they knew that it was fate that actually played a very great role in their lives. As you would remember, the last line of the last dialogue by Moria, it says that everyone who's living in the world has to die one day, and it is important for us to accept that. Okay. The sea was both the provider and the destroyer for the people living on the island. Justify the statement. So yes, indeed, it was a provider and destroyer. Provider how? Because it was through the sea that they would earn their living. They would get their dole of bread because of the sea, by fishing, by rowing the boat. And it was obviously a destroyer also because there were numerous instances, as told to us in the story itself, wherein the person would get drowned in the sea, leaving the family distorted. Do you think the play shows Moria's struggle between believing in Christianity and the pagan gods? Give reason for your answer. Yes, indeed. If you remember, how do we know that she believed in Christianity? because of the continuous blessings that she gave, the holy water that she used and used to carry back home, and she would make it a point to sprinkle it on Barclay's dead body and on the clothes of Michael. And regarding the pagan gods, because again and again she had mentioned the importance, the vitality of Samhain in her life. So this is something which is celebrated by the Celts. So it is associated with the pagan gods. So if she gave relevance to the Samhain, so that is that is quite evident that she was into the Celts, and other than that she was a Christian as well. She believed in Christianity as well. Is Maurya's fate an example of how human beings are powerless against the fury and might of nature? Yes, indeed, Maurya's case is a very big example that we human beings cannot do anything in front of the fury. Fury means the anger and the power of nature. So she was a victim who had lost her husband, her husband's father, and her 6 sons to the sea. Each one of them, as told to us, were drowned because of some force, either due to the wind, or they were drowned in the Curragh, or because of a pony they were drowned in the water. Their bodies were always discovered on the far ends of the world. The Bay of Gregory is where Sean's body was discovered. Then the north end was where Michael's body was discovered. So this clearly implies that, you have least control over the power and over the anger that is exhibited by nature. Okay. This says, complete the following graphic organizer by listing emotions expressed and providing evidence from the text wherever required. Now, for example, the first emotion they are talking about is caring. How is caring emotion exhibited through the text? When the dialogue was that she is lying down, God help her, and maybe she's sleeping if she's able. So this is the caring attitude of Kathleen, which is portrayed through it. The second dialogue is, herself does be saying prayers half through the night, and the Almighty God won't leave her destitute. So her belief in God is understood from this. Careful and thrifty. How can we say that any of them, for any of the 3 characters, that they were very careful and they were very thrifty? Thrifty, when you spend something in a very considerate manner. This happened when Maurya told them about the loft. Remember, when Maurya told Kathleen that she had enough she had enough turf for the cake, and why did she need more? He won't go this day, for the young priest will stop him surely. What can we say? Maurya was very sure that the young priest would stop her son. So this is the conviction of Maurya that is being highlighted. I will have no call now to be up crying and praying when the wind breaks from the south and you can hear the surf in the east. So it was at the end when Maurya was relaxed, I would say. She was calm now, as she had no living son, and there would be no need for her to wake up in the middle of the night or to get scared or to cry at all. Now complete the following table by making inferences and providing evidences from the story wherever required. Maurya is an old lady. What and how do we know that? If you remember, when Maurya entered, her shawl fell back from her head, showing her white hair. Isn't it hard and cruel? Man won't hear a word from an old woman and she holding him from the sea. So this was spoken by Kathleen, and what do we infer from it? That Maurya was not kind to Bartley. So she did not wish him a good luck before he was leaving for the sea. Okay. Maurya has suffered many tragedies in her life. What is the evidence of that? We read that Maurya's husband and her 6 sons were drowned in the sea. Its hard set will be from this day with no one in it but one man to work. This is what Maurya had said. So, what do we get to know about the emotions? That now the household was to be run by only the woman. There was no man who was left. Why would not you give him your blessing? And he looking round in the door. Isn't it sorrow enough is on everyone in this house without your sending him out with an unlucky word behind him and a hard word in his ear? So this is something that Kathleen scolded her mother about. So what can we say? That Kathleen was a very sensible and a mature woman. Laments the fact that her son has died before her. So how did she lament the fact that her son had died before her? Because she again and again, in the last she continued to say that Bartley blessed her, that God be with you. Remember, so this is what Bartley had told her before going for that fair also and before leaving the house also. So my dear students, with this we come to the end of this play. I hope you all have understood the play because every word and line was taught to you and the back exercises have been explained and discussed with you at length. So I hope there would not be any problem pertaining to the same. I will see you all now in my next lecture.